Hello guys, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. In today's class, we are going to discuss a topic of class 11's some basic concepts in chemistry chapters, a topic known as percentage composition. So what is this percentage composition? If you have observed in my previous video, I have discussed about some certain laws in the previous video. In that we discussed about law of definite proportions, right? In that law of definite proportions, I said that a scientist called Joseph Frost discovered that a natural cupric carbonate and a synthetic cupric carbonate had same amount of carbon, copper and oxygen, right? So in that we found out that CuCO3 of synthetic compound, and CuCO3 of natural compound was of same formula and so same mass. So once he found out that, he said that we have a definite proportion of composition for a given set of compound. Okay, so using that particular theory of law, now we have come to know that a percentage composition of a compound is fixed. Instead of saying its proportions is constant, we make it a simpler way by saying that the percentage of amount or percentage of element or atom or mass of an atom present in the given compound will be constant. Like if you consider for water molecule, so the percentage of oxygen and the percentage of hydrogen's mass in the mass of water molecule will always be constant. So mass of water is 18 grams, right? Mass of water is 18 grams. If you find out the percentage of oxygen present, that gives us present atomic mass of our oxygen divided by the total mass into 100, that is around 88%. Similarly, percentage of hydrogen, we have 2 atoms of hydrogen, that will be 2 divided by 18 into 100. That gives us around 11%, 11.9 something percent, that is almost 12. So this percentage of oxygen and hydrogen with respect to their mass present in the mass of a compound is found to be a constant. So that is nothing but percentage composition. So that is what we are studying now, that is percentage composition. So percentage composition of a given compound will always be same in any cases, even if you have taken a higher amount of the compound or a lower amount of compound. If you take 3 kg of a compound, it has the same percentage composition. If you have lesser amount of compound, it has the same percentage composition. So how we do is, if you know the percentage composition of a given compound, then you can find out its formula using that percentage composition. That is, if you know the percentage composition of a given compound, using that percentage composition, we can find out the compound's molecular formula. So how can we do that is, we have a topic of that called as empirical formula. Instead of directly going to the percentage calculations for molar masses, first we need to know a term called empirical formula. So this empirical formula is nothing but the simplest whole number ratio. It is the simplest whole number ratio of a compound. The empirical formula represents the simple whole number ratio of a compound in which it is composite. So like for example, if you consider our glucose molecule, that is C6H12O6. So glucose molecules can be written as C6H12O6, right? So instead of taking the C6H12O6, what we can do is, we can reduce it to its simplest ratio, that is 1:2:1, right? That is 1 atom of carbon, we have 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen in this particular ratio. So 1:2:1. So this C1H2O1. So this particular formula of its simplest natural whole number ratio is called empirical formula of that compound. If you represent a compound in its simplest whole number ratio, then that particular formula is called empirical formula. It's called empirical formula. And if you find out the mass of that empirical formula of a compound, that mass will be called as empirical formula mass. empirical formula mass. So first of all, what is empirical formula? It is a representation of simplest whole number ratio of a given compound and the mass of atoms present in that particular ratio. If you add those all, then we get the empirical formula mass. So if you know the percentage composition, we can find out its empirical formula. If you know its empirical formula, we can find out its empirical formula mass. And if you know this empirical formula mass and the total mass of the compound, let us say we have given some 78 grams, then dividing that total mass of the compound by its empirical formula mass, we can find out the number of atoms present. So thus, we can determine the complete molecular formula of a given compound. Okay, so this is about the percentage composition and empirical formula. Now we are going to understand this more by solving an example. Okay, now let us do a problem to find out molecular mass if its percentage mass is given and the molecular mass of this compound is found to be 98.96 grams. So now in this question, we have given a compound which contains 4.07% of hydrogen and 4.07% of hydrogen, 24.27% of carbon and 71.65% of chlorine. And further, they have given us the molecular mass of this compound. Molecular mass of this compound is 98.96 grams. 98.96 grams. So this is about the question. So now we have to find out the molecular formula of this compound. For that, we will have to do it step by step. The first step, in the solution, step 1. In step 1, let us consider our compound this is our compound. In this compound we have taken 100 grams. Okay, let us consider we have taken 100 grams of the compound which we have to find its molecular formula. So now, since we have given percentages, that is 4.07%, therefore let us consider this compound is of 100 grams. That implies that for the 100 grams of compound we have 4.07 grams of hydrogen, 24.27 grams of carbon, and 71.65 grams of chlorine. So since this compound is given in the composition given is percentage, so let us consider we have taken 100 grams of compound. Then according to the percentage, we can say that out of 100 grams of carbon, we have 4.07 grams of hydrogen, 24.27 grams of carbon and 71.65 grams of chlorine. Next, in the step 2, what we have to do is, we need to find out its mole value. So the moles, number of moles of each of the element. So how to find out that? So number of moles of hydrogen is equal to total mass divided by its molar mass. Number of moles of a compound can be calculated by total mass divided by molar mass. So total mass divided by molar mass. Now total mass of hydrogen is given as 4.07 divided by molar mass of hydrogen is 1.008. 1.008. Okay, so on dividing these two, we get that is 4.04. What we get is 4.04. So this is what we get for the number of moles of hydrogen. That is, if we divide total mass by molar mass, we get the number of moles of hydrogen. Once this is found, next we will find out the number of moles of carbon and chlorine respectively. Number of moles of carbon. So that is total mass of carbon is 24.27 grams divided by molar mass of carbon is 12 grams, 12.0 grams. So dividing these two we get 2.06. 2.06, that will be the number of moles of carbon. Next, for the number of moles of number of moles of chlorine. So total mass given is 71.65. Molar mass of carbon is 35.45 or 35.5. So on dividing these two, we get again 2.06. So once we get this value, we come across our step 2. That is, we have to find the number of moles of hydrogen, carbon and chlorine. So once you find out this value, in step 3, what we are going to do is, we are going to divide the total number of moles of each atom of this value by the smallest number. So we are going to divide these numbers by the smallest mole of compound used. So if you observe, we have 4 moles of hydrogen, 2 moles of carbon and 2 moles of chlorine. So now we are going to divide each of this with respect to its smallest number, that is nothing but 2.06. So on dividing, we get H as, for H it implies 4.04 divided by 2.06, that is 2. For carbon, that is 2.06 divided by 2.06, that is 1. And for chlorine, that is 2.06 divided by 2.06, again 1. So this 2, 1, 1 of hydrogen, carbon and chlorine is nothing but its simplest whole number ratio. That is, if you take carbon, hydrogen and chlorine, then the ratio of 1:2:1. Carbon, hydrogen and chlorine are in the ratio of 1:2:1. Therefore, in the step 4, we are going to write its empirical formula. Empirical formula of the compound is C1H2Cl1. Okay, so this is the simplest ratio of representing our given compound. Now we need to find out our molecular mass. So in order to find out the molecular mass, first we need to determine this empirical formula mass. So for the empirical formula mass, what you have to do is, we are going to add the atomic mass of each of these atoms present. So that is, mass of carbon is 12 grams. Empirical formula mass or empirical mass is equal to 1 into 12, that is, we have 1 atom of carbon, plus 2 into 1.008, that is 2 atoms of hydrogen, plus 1 into 35.5. 1 into 35.5, that gives us 48. That gives us 48.508. That gives us 48.508 grams. So this is about the empirical mass. Now we need to determine its molecular formula. For molecular mass, first we need to divide the empirical mass by its molar mass. In order to first we need to divide our molecular mass by empirical mass in order to know the exact number of atoms present. So that is, molar mass or molecular mass divided by empirical mass. That is equals to 98.96 divided by 48.5. So that is nothing but 2. Once we divide this, we get 2. That is, our molecular mass of the compound contains twice the number of formula of empirical compound. So molecular formula is equal to C1H2Cl1 twice. That is nothing but C2H4Cl2. So the molecular formula of our compound which we have given is C2H4Cl2. So this is how we can determine the molecular formula of a compound. So that is, first we need to solve all these steps. In the step 1, we need to find the number of mass of given with respect to its 100 grams. Next we need to find the number of moles of the compound, number of moles of the element present. Next we need to find its simple ratio. Using that simple ratio, we are going to write this empirical formula. Using that empirical formula, we are going to do its empirical mass. Once we find the empirical mass, using that to divide our molar mass, we get a number, which number is nothing but the ratio's multiple of molecular formula. So molecular formula will be taken as empirical formulas twice term because we have got 2. So we will get the formula as C2H4Cl2. So this is how we calculate molecular mass of a compound using its percentage composition and molecular mass. Okay. Next we are going to discuss is about stoichiometric problems. So now what is stoichiometry? Stoichiometry is a term which is derived by two Latin terms, that is stoichion and metric. So stoichion means nothing but element. Stoichion means element, whereas metric means measurement. So nothing but the study of measurement of elements, volume or mass. So if you have to know about as complete elements or compounds, mass or volume terminologies, in order to measure them, that comes under a topic called stoichiometry. So what does this stoichiometry say, or what is the importance of stoichiometry in chemistry is, in order to find out the completion of a reaction using a certain reactant products, if you are starting with some amount of reactants, we need to know how much amount of product you will get once the reaction is completely done. So like for example, if you start with to move from one place to other in a vehicle, it might consume some amount of fuel, right? So that amount of fuel, it has to be known. Let us say we have to travel for a distance of 100 kilometers. You have fueled up your tank for just 1 liter of fuel. So if I say your 1 liter of fuel can give up a mileage of about 45 kilometers, then you are not going to reach your destination within a time with enough fuel. So in order to reach your destination of product, so you have to use a sufficient amount of reactants. So that sufficient amount of reactant can be calculated using our stoichiometry. So the use of stoichiometry is very, very important for the completion of a reaction with this proper amount of reactants being taken. Like, let us say we have to combust methane, which is a type of fuel again. So on burning fuel of methane, we get carbon dioxide along with water, right? For burning methane with oxygen, we get carbon dioxide and water molecule. If you observe this reaction, this is not balanced. So whenever you have to calculate a stoichiometry of a complete reaction of reactants and products formation, you need to balance the reaction first. For balancing the reaction, if you observe over here, we have one carbon on left side and on the right side, and for the number of hydrogens we have 4 over here and we have just 2. So we will multiply this by 2, we get 2 2s 4 and we have 4 over here. Next, for the number of oxygen, we have 2 over here and 2 on the right hand side, totally 4, but we have just 2 on the left hand side, so multiply this by 2. So now this is our balanced chemical equation. So using this balanced chemical equation, we can determine the amount of reactant necessary in order to get the desired amount of product. If I say I have to prepare 4 moles of carbon dioxide, if I have to prepare 4 moles of carbon dioxide, what we can say is, if 1 mole of CH4, if 1 mole of CH4 gives us 1 mole of CO2, so then what we have to do is, in order to get 4 moles of carbon dioxide is, we need to use 4 moles of CH4. With respect to oxygen, we need to use 8 moles of oxygen because our 2 moles of oxygen gives us 1 mole of carbon dioxide. So 2 moles of oxygen gives 1 moles of carbon dioxide. Therefore, in order to prepare 4 moles of carbon dioxide, we need to use its double volume, that is of 2 moles. Okay. So this particular exact preparation for a reactant to get a desired amount of product can be done using our stoichiometry. So this can be related either in number of moles or in number of molecules. If you consider this balanced chemical equation, the terms which are taken on the coefficients of oxygen and water are called as stoichiometric coefficient. The terms which I have taken to balance the equation, this 2 is called stoichiometric coefficient. This is called stoichiometric coefficient. Stoichiometric coefficient, which represents the number of moles of reactant or product. It represents number of moles of reactant required or the number of moles of product formed. If you take one more reaction, let us say reaction of hydrogen with nitrogen. If you consider reaction of hydrogen with nitrogen, we get ammonia. Right? Once you balance this reaction, we have 2 atoms of nitrogen on the left hand side, we take 2 for 2 ammonia, but we have now 6 hydrogens on the right hand side, we'll take 3 atoms of 3 molecules of H2. So now these coefficients have been varied off. So clearly we can say that those stoichiometric coefficients are not constant for every reaction. It does not be same for every other chemical reaction. It alters. So now if you have to say, if you have to prepare 2 moles of ammonia, we have to use 3 moles of hydrogen or 1 mole of nitrogen. Okay. By using 3 moles of hydrogen and reacting them with 1 mole of nitrogen, we can get 2 moles of ammonia. Okay. So this can be treated as mole volume or molecular compound, molar compound or molecular compound. But if you have to consider them in case of gases, but because in this type of reaction, if you take this as gases, we are using gaseous methane with oxygen for burning by getting carbon dioxide and water vapor. Then in terms of gases, we need to measure them in terms of volumes. That is, a stoichiometry of a reactant or a product can be given or represented in 3 types. One is with respect to moles, with respect to number of moles consumed or produced, or with respect to the number of molecules, with respect to number of molecules, or with respect to volume, with respect to volume. So the number of moles is nothing but 1 mole of compound or 1 molecule of compound, which is constant for 1. But in case of volume, 1 mole of compound contains 22.4 liters of volume at normal temperature, standard temperature and pressure. The stoichiometric definitions have been clearly said that 1 mole of a gaseous compound is nothing but 22.4 liters of its volume. That is, 22.4 liters of volume of a compound will be equal to 1 mole of that compound. Okay. So now, in order to explain this in terms of volume, what you can say is, we have 1 mole of methane, that is 22.4 liters of methane, is reacting with 44.8 liters of oxygen to form 22.4 liters of carbon dioxide and 48.4 liters of water. Okay, so these are the 2 representations for calculating the amount of reactant required to form a desired amount of product. One is with respect to mole, other one is with respect to molecules, and the third one is with respect to liters of volume. So liters of volume is, that is 22.4 liters of a volume will be equal to 1 mole of a compound. Okay, so this is about the stoichiometric used for a given calculating a number of reactants required and number of products, desired products formed. So if you have understood about this concept, please do subscribe to my channel. And further, we have some problems we have to solve with respect to this, and we have some more topics which also has problems. What we're going to do is, we are going to discuss those topics first, and we can calculate or determine or solve those all problems in a separate video. Okay. So please do subscribe to my channel in order to get notified of those videos which I'm going to put up about the problems. And like this video if you like it. And please do comment down below if you have any doubts. You can also mail me on my email address, which I have given you in the description box. And further, if you have your friends who are not able to catch up with the online classes with your friends on your college, they can watch these YouTube videos in any time. So please share to them so get use of these videos. Thank you for watching.